Vaman Gosai Maharaj ki jai, Vishnu Vishnupad, Ashtatara Shatashmad Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitya Vishnu Vishnupad, Ashtatara Shatashmad Srila Bhaktivedānta Keshav Gosai Maharaj ki jai, Nitya Vishnu Vishnupad, Ashtatara Shatashmad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosai Prabhupada ki jai, Nitya Vishnu Mahabhagavat Srila Kurukshetra Swabhaji Maharaj ki jai, Nitya Vishnu Srila Satchidananda Bhaktivedānta Thakur ki jai, Nitya Vishnu Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannatha Swabhaji Maharaj ki jai, Shri Rupa Nurgoriya Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Raghunath Shri Gosai Prabhu ki jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai, Nam Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय, सर्व विश्व व्रत गिरिराज महाराज की जय, श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय, श्री मुनि देवी गंगा देवी की जय, श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय, श्री भक्ति देवी की जय, श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाय की जय, श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय, श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय, श्री महादेव की जय, श्री शिवरात्रि की जय, श्री शिव चतुर्दशी व्रत चतुर्दशी तिथि पालन करी भक्त वृंद की जय, श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्री गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. Well, there's nobody on here watching yet, so I'm just speaking to no one. Anyhow, I actually need to go in about an hour from now to a program in Godrum. It's 8:30 right now, and I'm supposed to leave at 9:30. So I'm just gonna read for until it gets close to 9:30, and then I just have to take off. So we'll see how far we get through. But yeah, here is. This is given from a class on July 3rd in Holland, 1997. So I'm just going to quickly jump in. Let's see where we get to. Once, wait, is my screen sharing? Yes, it is. Okay. Oh, wow. Now there's all of a sudden a lot of people. Okay. Oh, wait, let me put up this. There, GBP logo. Okay. Once the great sage Narad Muni traveled to the abode of Lord Shiva and began to glorify him, saying, "You are very near and dear to the Supreme Lord Krishna. Not only that, you are Krishna's manifestation. You are non-different from him. You can give liberation and also Krishna prem, the rare jewel of transcendental love for Krishna." Hearing Narad glorify him in numerous ways, Lord Shiva became angry and said, "Your glorification of me is false. I am not at all dear to Sri Krishna." Lord Shiva is actually the most dear to Sri Krishna, and therefore Krishna can give him services which he cannot give anyone else. When the demigods and demons were churning the milk ocean in order to obtain the nectar of immortality, the first substance produced was a powerful and dangerous poison, burning the entire world. The demigods appealed to Sri Krishna, and he advised them to request Lord Shiva to drink the poison. Thus, they worshipped Lord Shiva and prayed, "Please save us, only you can protect us." Lord Shiva collected the poison and took it in his mouth, but he hesitated to swallow it, considering, "Krishna is in my heart. The poison will affect him." He therefore kept the poison in his throat, which was burned, and his neck turned the color blue. He got the name Nilakanta. Now, out of genuine humility, Lord Shiva told Narad, Lord Shiva told Narad, "I want to be his beloved devotee, but actually I am not. You know that I always wear ashes from the burial grounds and a garland of skulls. All my associates are ghosts and witches, so I am not qualified to be Krishna's dear devotee. If I am so dear to him, why would he have ordered me to engage with the mode of ignorance and the terrible function of destroying the universe? If I am such a great recipient of his mercy, why would he have ordered me to become Shankaracharya and preach a philosophy that is adverse to him? Actually, although he expressed otherwise, It was because Shiva is so dear to Krishna that Krishna was able to give him the difficult task of appearing as Shankaracharya. Many people had been worshipping the Supreme Lord only to fulfill their selfish purposes, thinking, simply by our worship of God, He will be pleased with us and satisfy all our worldly desires. They worshipped Him only so that He would rapidly arrange for all of their needs, not to please Him. Lord Krishna thought, this is very dangerous. He called Lord Shiva and instructed him, such false devotees will create great disturbances, so keep them far, far away from me. Create a philosophy which teaches Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. The absolute is true, and this world is false. You should preach, all souls are Shiva, all souls are Brahma, all are one. You are Brahma, the impersonal absolute. There is no need to worship any other god. You are the supreme God. Reluctant, Lord Shiva asked Krishna, can you please tell someone else to do this? I'm not qualified for this service. Krishna replied, no, you will have to do this. In the entire world, I see no one else who is capable. Feeling ashamed, Lord Shiva now told Narad, at last I had to agree to follow his order. Appearing as Shankaracharya, I preached everywhere. You are Brahma, you are Brahma. You are the impersonal Brahma. The entire world is false. I am so much regretting this. I know I have committed a great offense by causing so many people to be averse to Lord Krishna. Still, to carry out his order, I spread this doctrine. It is clear by the facts that he sometimes gives me such orders that I am not his dearest one. Cheating the cheaters. Lord Shiva also expressed to Narad his regret in having given benedictions to Lord Krishna's enemies. To fulfill his Lord's desires, he had given benedictions to demons like Ravan, Vrikasura, Shalva, and Jayadratha, and thus he had performed many activities that were seemingly opposed to Krishna and Krishna Bhakti. Narad Muni said, Master, please don't try to mislead me. I know that whatever you do is to please Lord Krishna and to assist him in his pastimes for the benefit of all beings. You told me that you have many times given benedictions to his enemies. I know that his enemies, as well as the enemies of his devoted cousins, the Pandavas, worship you for ill-motivated benedictions. I also know that you grant them benedictions. But those benedictions are not foolproof. They always have some loophole. Actually, you cheat these beneficiaries in order to please Lord Krishna. You are undoubtedly his dearest friend. Shiva and Narad continued to discuss some historical incidents, which, according to Shiva, proved that he was not dear to Krishna, but according to Narad, proved the opposite, a loophole. The great epic Mahabharata tells of King Jayadratha, one of the many demons who received such a clever benediction from Lord Shiva. Duryodhana, the paternal cousin of the 5 Pandava brothers, had given his sister Dushal in marriage to King Jayadratha, and therefore the king had also become like a brother-in-law of the Pandavas. Once, Jayadratha tried to kidnap the Pandava's wife, Draupadi, desiring strongly to make her his own wife. As he forced her onto his chariot, she admonished him, crying, I am the wife of the Pandavas. When they catch you, they will punish you and kill you. Jayadratha's arrogance prevented him from hearing her, and he continued his abduction. Meanwhile, the sage Narad approached the Pandavas and informed them, Oh, I saw Jayadratha taking away Draupadi, and she was weeping. The 2 of the Pandavas, Bhima and Arjuna, immediately chased after Jayadratha. Bhima dismounted his chariot and ran faster than Jayadratha's horses. With his bow and arrows, Arjuna created a fire that surrounded the chariot of Jayadratha, who was then captured and could not move. Severely beaten by Bhima and arrested by Arjuna, Jayadratha was bound to the chariot and taken to where Yudhishthira Maharaj had been staying with Draupadi. Bhima and Arjuna spoke to Yudhishthira, the respected senior brother. Bhima urged him, I want to kill Jayadratha. Please order me to kill him. In support of Bhima, Arjuna said, Jayadratha has performed a heinous act and should be killed. King Yudhishthira replied, the offense was committed against Draupadi. We should take the case to her, and we will do whatever she orders. When Jayadratha was brought at the feet of Draupadi, she mercifully told her husbands, don't kill him, forgive him. He is our brother-in-law. If you kill him, your cousin sister will be widowed, and she will weep for the rest of her life. Bhima and Arjuna then approached Lord Krishna and appealed to him. What should we do? We have vowed to kill Jayadratha, and now Draupadi tells us to forgive him. Krishna replied, for one who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death. Arjuna then shaved King Jayadratha's head, leaving 5 patches of hair, and he shaved one side of his face, leaving the other side unshaven. Jayadratha felt humiliated, and after being released by Bhima and Arjuna, he considered it better to have died. He thought, I will somehow take revenge. Thus absorbed, he went to Gangotri in the Himalayas and undertook a severe type of penance to please Lord Shiva. After some months, he gave up all food, water, and bodily activities and was about to die. At this point, Lord Shiva came before him and asked what boon he wanted as a result of his austerity. Jayadratha replied, I want revenge against the Pandavas. I want to defeat and kill all of them. Lord Shiva told him, you can defeat the Pandavas, but only Yudhishthira, Bhima, Nakula, and Sahadev, not Arjuna. Jayadratha said, if you cannot benedict me to my full satisfaction, then please grant me that neither Arjuna nor anyone else will be able to kill me. Lord Shiva replied, I can grant you this. If your head is severed and falls on the ground, the person who caused this will die immediately. Your life will be saved and your head will rejoin your body. You may be killed hundreds of thousands of times, but you will not die. On the other hand, if your severed head falls into your father's hands and he throws it on the ground, then you will die. Jayadratha was satisfied, thinking, my father would never do this. It's a very specific. Okay. When the battle of Kurukshetra began, Jayadratha took the side of the Pandavas' enemy, Duryodhana. One evening during the battle, as the sun was setting, Jayadratha's father was absorbed in prayer and making an offering of water to the sun god. Arjuna saw this opportune moment. With the skillful release of an arrow, he severed Jayadratha's head from his body and caused it to fall into the hands of his meditating father. Startled and without thought, Jayadratha's father tossed the head on the ground. Then, opening his eyes, he exclaimed, what was that wet thing? Saying that he had just thrown his son's head, he began to cry, oh my son, you are dead now. A clever benediction. Envious of Krishna and with a desire for the strength to destroy him, the demon Shalva also took shelter of Lord Shiva. He performed a severe type of austerity and ate no more than a handful of ashes daily. After 1 year, Lord Shiva became pleased with him and asked him to beg for a boon. Shalva begged from Lord Shiva the gift of an airplane, saying, this airplane should perform as I wish. It should be operated by my mind. On my order, it should go to heaven or anywhere I desire. In summer, it should be air-conditioned. If there are only 2 men, there should be 2 seats. And if I want to travel with hundreds of thousands of persons, many seats should manifest. It should never crash due to mechanical difficulty, and it should be equipped with all varieties of weapons. It should be dangerous and fearful to the Yadus. Lord Shiva agreed, and Shalva was helped by the demon Maya Danava to manufacture a mystical airplane that began to destroy Dwarka, Lord Krishna's abode. Shalva personally attacked from above, and his soldiers attacked on the ground. Headed by Pradyumna, the Yadu dynasty warriors fought with Shalva and his army, but they could not defeat him. Finally, Lord Krishna personally appeared on the battlefield, and after much intense fighting on both sides and many mystic displays by Shalva, The Lord took up his disc, cut off the demon's head, and gave him liberation. In this way, the benedictions given by Lord Shiva to the enemies of Lord Krishna always have a weak point, a loophole. Lord Shiva is extremely clever, and he is always serving his Lord, Sri Krishna. Narad knew this fact, and he wanted to publicize Lord Shiva's glories. Shiva is very near and dear to Krishna, and none different from him. Try to always honor him, for he is Krishna's greatest devotee. Nimna ganam yatha ganga, devanam achyuta yatha, vaishnavanam yatha shambhu, purananam idam tata. Śrīmad Bhagavatam 12, 13, 16. Just as the Ganga is the greatest of all rivers, Lord Achyuta, Krishna, the supreme among deities, and Lord Shambhu, Shiva, the greatest of Vaishnavas. So Śrīmad Bhagavatam is the greatest of all Puranas. So I read that a little bit strange, but you got it. Ganga is the greatest of rivers, Achyuta is the greatest supreme among deities, and Lord Shambhu is the greatest of Vaishnavas. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. Oops. Okay. Forgot there's 2 pages. Okay. The principle of Shiva. The principle of Shiva, Śiva-tattva, is extremely complex. The principle of Brahma is not as complicated, because Lord Brahma is always a jiva, a finite spirit soul. Sometimes when there is no qualified jiva, Lord Vishnu, Krishna's expansion, personally takes the post of Brahma, and he becomes Hiranyagarbha Brahma. But that is rare. Lord Shiva is not like that. He is not a finite soul. After passing through the 8 material coverings, and after crossing the Viraja, the river that divides the material world and the spiritual world, and the planet of Lord Brahma, the highest material planet, one comes to the planet of Shiva. There he is known as a manifestation of Lord Vishnu. So that's in Vaikuntha. Lord Shiva's planet in Vaikuntha is called, Shiva Loka. Śiva-tattva can be, but that Shiva is not different from Vishnu. And then below that is the Mount Kailash. And there Shiva is in his form as Shambhu. So Śiva-tattva can be understood by the analogy of yogurt and milk. Yogurt is nothing but a transformation of milk. Sorry, 1 second. Haribol, I'm in the middle of a reading right now. Sorry. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Śiva-tattva can be understood by the analogy of yogurt and milk. Yogurt is nothing but a transformation of milk. Milk can become yogurt, but yogurt cannot become milk. This analogy is in Brahma Samhita and elucidated in Jiva Goswami's commentary. Just as milk is transformed into yogurt by contact with a transforming agent, Sri Govinda, Lord Sri Krishna, similarly accepts the form of Shambhu, Shiva, in order to accomplish a specific purpose. The example of yogurt is actually given in order to convey the idea of cause and effect, not the idea of transformation. Sri Krishna is reality and cannot be transformed, so it is not possible for him to undergo any kind of distortion. A wish-fulfilling gem manifests many things according to one's desire, yet its constitutional nature remains untransformed. And there's a commentary by Srila Bhaktivedānta Thakur. He says, in this case, the special transforming agent is constituted of a mixture of Maya's aspect of the mode of ignorance, the minuteness aspect of the marginal potency, and a slight degree of the combined knowledge, sambit, and bliss, hladini aspects of the transcendental potency. The effulgent subordinate controller in the form of Shambhu Linga, being united with this special transforming agent, is constitutionally the semblance of God's expansion. Okay, so that's Shiva. That's how Shiva is composed. He's constituted of a bit of Tamagun, the Tatashta Shakti, and a slight degree of Samvit and Hladini coming from the Chit Shakti. So that is Shiva. So Shiva does, yeah, anyways. Okay, so again, just what we read here. The first paragraph here is talking about not Shambhu, it's talking about Sadashiv, who's in the Vaikuntha planets. And then this next paragraph is talking about, and so that Shiva, Sadashiv, and the Vaikuntha planets, he is fully, Vishnu. He has no touch of Tamagun or Tatashta Shakti or anything. He's completely an expansion of Vishnu or Nārāyaṇa, whatever. But then below that, there is Shambhu, who is, what was it? Combination of Tamagun, Tatashta Shakti, and a little bit of Samvit and Hladini. That's Shambhu, and that's what this yogurt analogy is referring to. But it's not a jiva also. And we read it in Madhurya Kadambini about Shambhu, about how, anyways, we can talk about that later. Rameshwar Mahadev. When Sri Ramachandra was making the bridge to Lanka, he established a Shiva Linga, deity form of Shiva, called Rameshwar. All the common people began glorifying Lord Shiva, shouting, Rameshwar ki jai, you are Ram's Ishwar, you are the Lord of Ram. The demigods were unsatisfied by this and announced through an aerial voice, Ramas cha aso Ishvara. Rama is God and Shankar is also God. They are the same. Hearing this, the Shiva Linga broke. Lord Shiva emerged from the Linga and told them all, you are all foolish. You do not know my tattva, the established truths regarding my identity. Rama is my beloved and my God, and that is why I am called Rameshwar. Rameshwar means Ram is the Ishwar, not the Ishwar of Ram. Rameshwar. Granting perfect love. Lord Shiva eternally resides in Krishna's abode, Vrindavan, where he manifests many forms to render devotional services to him. The form of Gopishwar Mahadev was manifested by Lord Krishna's desire. When Krishna desired to perform his rasa dance, Srimati Radhika, the embodiment of his pleasure potency, manifested from his left side, and Gopishwar Mahadev manifested from his right side. This happened at Keshigat, I think, right? The form of Shiva who lives in Kashi or Kailash in the material world is a partial manifestation of the original Sadashiv in Vrindavan. The many other commonly worshipped forms of Lord Shiva are expansions of Sadashiv. They are not the original. Partial expansions such as Pipaleshwar Mahadev, Bhuteshwar Mahadev, Rangeshwar Mahadev, and so on, cannot award the benediction that can be attained by the mercy of Gopishwar, the highest perfection of love, namely Gopi Prem. These three Mahadevs, and there's also Gokarneshwar Mahadev, those are all in Mathura. Oh, and there's a footnote here from Pinnacle of Devotion, talking about Gopishwar Mahadev. And in his original and most pure form, Shiva is eternally Gopishwar Mahadev. Yet he performed the following human-like pastime in which he became Gopishwar. Lord Shiva wanted to become a yogi. He performed austerities, and when Purnamasi Yogamaya became pleased and appeared before him, he prayed to join Krishna's Raslila. Purnamasi mercifully assisted him in dipping. She assisted him in dipping in Brahmakund, dipping him in Brahmakund, and he immediately assumes the form of a teenage gopi. He then went to the place where Raslila was being performed and hid there in a grove. Krishna and the gopis sensed that someone of a different mood had come. They asked each other, Why are you not so happy today? What is the matter? After searching, they discovered the new gopi and asked her, Who are you? What is your name? Who are your parents? What is your husband's name? Where is your in-laws' house? When Shiva could not reply, they began to slap her so much that her cheeks had become swollen, and she began to cry, Yogamaya, Yogamaya, save me! I will never again come to Vrindavan, and I will never dare take part in Ras Leela. Purnamasi arrived, and she requested the gopis to show Lord Shiva mercy. She is the object of my mercy, Purnamasi told them. The gopis then accepted her as a gopi, and Krishna named her Gopishwar, she whose Ishwars, controllers, are the gopis. He blessed her to become the guard of the Ras Leela and said, without the sanction of Gopishwar, no one will be able to enter the Ras Leela. That's from Pinnacle of Devotion. Okay, so Srila Raghunath Das Goswami has composed a prayer in his Vraj Vilas Stava. I'm just trying to see how to. Gopendrasyat Majag Pujas Parisanga Nitaye Sporad Gopi Vrindar Yamiha Bhagavatam Pranaivi Bajad Bhistar Bhaktyas Vama Bilasitam Praptam Achirat Yamitire Gopi Shwaramanudinam Tam Kila Bhaje. So I messed up on that verse a bit. I daily worship Gopishwar Mahadev, who is situated on the bank of the Yamuna. That very Gopishwar was worshipped with deep devotion by the gopis, and he quickly fulfilled their desire to attain a supremely precious jewel in the form of the embrace of the son of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna. Srila Sanatana Goswami, the great Vaishnava saint who resided in Vrindavan near the old Sri Madan Mohan temple, would go daily to see Sri Gopishwar Mahadev at his temple. Once, in his older years, Sanatana Goswami had a dream wherein Gopishwar Mahadev appeared and instructed him, now that you are old, please do not go through so much trouble to see me. Sanatana Goswami replied, I will continue to come. I cannot change this habit. Gopishwar Mahadev said, then I will come and stay very near to your residence, manifesting in Bankandi. The very next day, Sri Gopishwar Mahadev appeared in Bankandi, halfway between his original temple and Srila Sanatana Goswami's residence. Seeing this, Sanatana Goswami became overwhelmed with transcendental ecstasy. From that day on, he visited Bankandi Mahadev every day. Wherever he was, Srila Sanatana Goswami could not live without his beloved Lord Shiva, Gopishwar Mahadev and Bankandi Mahadev in Vrindavan, and Kameshwar Mahadev in Kamyavan forest. In Govardhan, he would stay near his very dear friend, Chakreshwar Mahadev, who acquired the name when he served Govardhan Hill and the Brajvasis by holding up his trident-like chakra, disc weapon, protecting them from the torrential deluge sent by King Indra. Prior to this, Lord Shiva had asked Sri Krishna for the boon to witness his childhood pastimes. Krishna ordered him to situate himself in Nandagaon in the form of a hill. Shiva followed this order and became Nandishwar Hill, and he thus became known as Nandishwar. Lord Brahma became Brahma Parvat, the mountain in Srimati Radhika's birthplace, Varshana. Because Brahma is so near to Radhika, he is also our Gurudev. We honor Lord Shiva as a great Vaishnava and as Guru. We do not worship him separately. We observe Shiva-Ratri, Lord Shiva's appearance day, and we glorify him in connection to his relationship with Sri Krishna. Srila Sanatana Goswami has written in his Hari Bhakti Vilas that all Vaishnavas should observe Shiva Chaturdashi, Shiva-Ratri. Lord Shiva, in whom all good qualities reside, should certainly be honored by the observance of this day. Okay. Let me just see if everything's still working. Yes, okay. Just I'm just seeing this comment right here. Can Shiva be offered Tulsi leaves? I saw Tulsi being mentioned to be offered in Abhishek in a Hindu group. Is that authorized by our Guru Varga? I wouldn't offer Tulsi leaves to Shiva. I don't know the exact rules, but no, I would. I think just to be safe, you can offer Tulsi leaves into Shiva's hands, but not. I don't actually know though. Yeah, because the Shiva lingas are like representing Shambhu, and Shambhu is, I don't actually know because Śiva-tattva is so complicated. I actually can't tell you the answer to that. So we offer obeisance to Lord Shiva with prayers like this: Vrindavan, Vrindavana Vanipate Jai Soma Soma Mole Sanaka Sananda Sanatana Nārayaṇa Gopishvara Vrajavilasi Gangri Parme Prema Prayacha Nirupadi Namo Namaste. From Sankalpa Kalpadrum 103. O gatekeeper of Vrindavan, O Soma, all glories to you. O you whose forehead is decorated with the moon, and who is worshipable by the sages headed by Sanak, Sanandan, Sanatan, and Narad. O Gopishwar, desiring that you bestow upon me prem for the lotus feet of Shishi Radha Madhav, who performs joyous pastimes in Vrajdam, I offer obeisances unto you time and again. Gopishwar Mahadev in Vrindavan. By Shiva's benediction. A Brahmin in Kashi Varanasi once prayed to Lord Shiva, I want to give my daughter in marriage, but I have no money. Please give me money. Lord Shiva told him, go to Vrindavan and meet with Srila Sanatana Gosami. You can ask him to give you some wealth for your daughter's marriage. The Brahmin went to Vrindavan by foot, and there he asked the villagers there for the whereabouts of a person named Sanatana Gosami. As they all knew him, they pointed out his residence. Srila Sanatana Gosami was practicing bhajan near the Yamuna river at Kaliya Hrad, the former abode of the very poisonous snake named Kaliya. Kaliya Hrad was close to the Yamuna, and therefore its surrounding area was full of sand. Srila Sanatana Gosami wore only a loincloth. He used to go begging door to door for a small amount of prasad. And he would take as his meal only one dry chapati with no salt. The Brahmin arrived at his cottage and told him, I went to Shankar Mahadev, Lord Shiva, and he told me to meet you. He said that you will give me some wealth for my daughter's marriage. Sanatana Gosami replied, I have no possessions. You can see that I have nothing but a loincloth. Then he thought, oh, Shiva cannot tell a lie. He is my bosom friend. Thinking of Lord Shiva and contemplating further, he remembered a touchstone he had once disregarded and then forgotten. Now he told the Brahmin, go to the Yamuna and remove some of the sand, and there you will find the touchstone. It is somewhere in the sand, though I don't remember where. The Brahmin found the jewel, touched it to iron, and the iron turned into gold. He was very, very happy that Lord Shiva had told him to come to the Vrindavan, and thought with gratitude, my prayer has been answered by him. On the way home, however, his greed for money increased, and he began thinking, why did Sanatana Gosami keep the touchstone in the sand? It had no use there. He must have still more valuable jewels. He thus returned, and Sanatana Gosami asked him, why have you come back? He replied, I've come because I know that you have more valuable jewels than this. Sanatana Gosami then said, go and throw the touchstone in the Yamuna. The Brahmin, I'm finding lots of proofreading things in here, like there's no, anyways. The Brahmin did so with all his power, and then Sanatana Gosami told him, come here, come here. He gave him the mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and said, I do not have worldly jewels, but I have transcendental jewels. The jewel of Lord Krishna and Sri Radha will come to you in a very short time. So remain here. Your daughter's marriage will take place automatically. Stay here and chant Hare Krishna. That Brahmin followed his instruction and became a very elevated saint. Okay, so that was chapter 1.
It's 9 o'clock.
And it's 9 o'clock. That was great timing. Let me see how long this is. Because I do have to, okay, it's not so long. And how long is this book? Okay, let me just read chapter 2 at least. Chapter 2, the post and the person. Sorry. Śrīmad desired to proclaim the glories of Lord Shiva. As previously described, he praised Shiva as the greatest devotee of Lord Krishna and most dear to him, and Lord Shiva became upset by hearing those praises. Shiva then related a number of incidents, which, according to him, were evidence that he was not dear to Krishna at all. Lord Shiva compares himself to Sri Prahlāda Mahārāja, the famed devotee of Lord Nrsimhadev described in Śrīmad Bhagavatam. He told Nārāyaṇa, Sri Prahlāda Mahārāja is superior to me, and it is he who is the dear devotee of the Lord. Even though Lord Shiva is superior to Prahlāda Mahārāja, he told Nārāyaṇa that Prahlāda Mahārāja is superior. Why? He said this to encourage people to follow Prahlāda Mahārāja's ideal character and teachings. However, Prahlāda Mahārāja could not enter Sri Krishna's transcendental abode Vrindavan, whereas Lord Shiva resides there eternally as Gopishwar. Shiva serves Sri Krishna personally in numerous ways. He and his wife Parvati Devi meditate on Ashtakaliya Lila, Lord Krishna's confidential pastimes, eightfold daily pastimes. These secret pastimes are very confidential, yet both Shiva and Parvati are able to meditate upon them. Shiva is hundreds and thousands of times superior to and more worshipable than Sri Prahlāda Mahārāja. And yet the artful Shiva declared Prahlāda Mahārāja to be superior. Why did he do so? In one sense, Prahlāda Mahārāja is superior. In another sense, he is not. We can reconcile this by considering the two perspectives from which to understand the identity of Lord Shiva. We can see Shiva from the point of view of his post, and also from the point of view of his personality. As a personality, separate from his post, he appears as an associate of the Supreme Lord, such as Gopishwar, Hanuman, and Bhima. As Gopishwar, he resides eternally in Vrindavan. As Hanuman, he always associates with and serves Lord Ram. As Bhima, he always serves Lord Krishna. And when Hanuman and Bhima combine together in this present age of Kali Yuga, they become Madhvacharya, our Sampradaya Guru. Also, Shiva comes as like Sadashiv is, is Advaitacharya. Advaitacharya is also, like an expansion of Sadashiv, if I remember correctly. So from the point of view of Lord Shiva's function as the god of annihilation, and also that of Brahma as the secondary creator of the universe, Shiva and Brahma are actually posts. Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are not ordinary human beings, but their posts are like that of the president or prime minister of a nation, wherein the man representing the post has to perform a certain defined job. Both as the post and the person, Shiva is superior to Brahma. Lord Shiva is an expansion of Lord Vishnu, but sometimes a jiva, living entity, may become Shiva's expansion, known as Rudra. If a man purely performs the duties of Varnashram for 100 births, he may become Brahma. In other words, he may attain the position or post of Brahma. In turn, when a person in the post of Brahma carries out his function expertly for 100 births, he becomes qualified to perform the function of Shiva in his manifestation as Rudra. Shiva's post is therefore superior to that of Brahma, and this is also evidence that Shiva is more powerful than Brahma. There's also, just one second. There's just to make it more clear. So Gurudev's talked about 3 forms of Shiva now. The original first form is Sadashiv in Vaikuntha planets, and also Gopishwar Mahadev. You know, that's Shiva and is in the eternal abode. And then there is Shiva. So that's Sadashiv, and he looks. I don't think Sadashiv isn't wearing like a tiger skin and doesn't have ashes all over his body. You know, and he's living on his own planet in Vaikuntha called Shiva Loka. And then under that, also not in the material world. I don't know where exactly is Mount Kailash situated. I have to look at the universal chart, but yeah, Kailash I think is above. Is Kailash above? I don't know exactly where Kailash is, but it's not like just within the material universes. I don't think. And there, that is Lord Shambhu, and Shambhu is also, that's when Shambhu is also non-different from Vishnu and different from Vishnu. Shambhu, as a pastime, he comes in contact with the material energy, even though he's completely spiritual, and he's not a jiva. He's not an ordinary jiva. Shambhu is not a jiva, but he comes in contact. He's like a special form of Vishnu that can come in contact with the material modes, and so he touches it. But he's the controller of the modes. He's not controlled by the modes. But yeah, but Vishnu never even comes in touch with the modes, and so that's Shambhu. And as we read already, right? Shambhu is, what was it? It's a combination of the material modes, like mode of ignorance, tamagun, katashta shakti, a bit, right? Katashta, and samvit, and hladini. Yeah, that is Shambhu. So I don't know. And then so that's Sadashiv, Shambhu, and then below him is Rudra. And Rudra is the one who destroys, you know, who causes Rudra, and there's, what is there, 12 Rudras? Anyways, they destroy the whole material creation at the time of devastation. And that Rudra can, that is a post, and that a jiva can occupy. So I hope that makes it a little bit more clear. I mean, Śiva-tattva is even more complicated than that, but that's just a really basic way to break it down. Sadashiv, Shambhu, Rudra. Okay, I'll go back to the... Oh, and I made a video before, like I read from Madhuri Kadambini, and that very much clarifies the position of Shambhu. So if you are interested in that, you can watch that video, or you can read Madhuri Kadambini, third shower, third text. That gets, yeah. All right, let's continue. The duty of destruction. What is the function of Lord Shiva's post, and why is it superior to that of Lord Brahma? So that post is referring to the post of Rudra. 11 Rudras, is it? I think it's 11 Rudras. I can't remember. Or no, it's 12 Rudras. Whatever. One reason, so why is it superior to that of Lord Brahma, that function? One reason is that Brahma cannot execute pralaya, the complete destruction of the universe, a very dangerous thing, whereas Shiva can do so. Shiva's function as destroyer is similar to that of a farmer who plants and cultivates a large area of wheat. The farmer carefully waters and nourishes the crop, guarding it from animals. And after 5 or 6 months, the wheat matures and ripens. Then, either by hand or by machine, the farmer harvests and plants and carefully removes the grains from their shafts. The rest of the plant matter becomes refuse, and subject to rotting and attracting disease, vermin, and snakes. Therefore, the farmer sets fire to it and burns it. Just as the farmer extracts the grains from the plants, Lord Shiva extracts the eternal spirit souls from their material bodies from the world. At the time of annihilation, he creates an inferno, setting the entire universe on fire, but the spirit souls are not destroyed. There are two kinds of universal devastations, one at the end of Lord Brahma's day and one at the end of his life. At the end of his day, 4,320,000,000 solar years, right? Yeah. He rests in a mystic sleep with the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and all the conditioned living entities enter as well. Oh my God, I'm not going to read all that, it's too long. While the entire universe is submerged in water, the living entities rest in their subtle bodies within the transcendental body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. They await the start of the next day of Brahma, the next material creation or manifestation. Some of them become liberated, others do not. When Lord Brahma completes the 100 celestial years of his life, Lord Shiva again performs this duty of destruction. At that time, all the spirit souls enter into the body of Karnadaksha Vishnu, or Mahavishnu. At the end of each day of Lord Brahma, all souls enter Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and at the end of Brahma's life, even the millions of manifestations of Garbhodaksha Vishnu enter Karunadaksha Vishnu, along with the spirit souls. At the time of creation, Karnadaksha Vishnu generates innumerable manifestations of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and at the time of complete annihilation, they enter back into his body. Lord Shiva is not a living entity, but he is also not in the category of Lord Vishnu. He is much more powerful than any living entity, even up to Lord Brahma. However, he is not equal to Lord Vishnu, because he is almost as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He can see the three phases of time: past, present, and future. One of his eyes is like the sun, and another is like the moon. He also has a third eye located between his eyebrows. It is from this third eye that he generates fire and employs it at the time of the universal devastation. Seen from this perspective, the destroyer, Lord Shiva cannot serve Sri Krishna directly because he is engaged at his post. Those souls who are liberated after hundreds of thousands of lifetimes of devotional practice, having renounced all responsibilities and concerns of the world, including occupations like that of Brahma and Shiva, and who constantly hear about, glorify, and remember Lord Krishna, take birth in this world as pure devotees like Prahlad Maharaj. This was told by Lord Shiva to Sri Narad. Prahlad Maharaj has nothing to do with this world, nothing to create or demolish. He rejected all such affairs as insignificant. Although he had inherited a large kingdom, it was controlled and governed by his ministers. His senses were totally absorbed in the transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord. He was always engaged in hearing the name and glories of the Lord, singing and speaking about his glories, remembering and meditating on him, offering prayers, carrying out his orders, and fully surrendering to him. Gotta delete that. The devotees in Prahlad's category have no need to approach Lord Krishna's manifestations, like Lord Nrsimhadev and Lord Ram, for the Lord personally comes to them in these forms. Lord Shiva told Sri Narad that because he is always engaged in the post of controlling the universe, he can neither see nor offer services to the Lord daily, as Prahlad Maharaj sees Lord Vamandev or Lord Nrsimhadev. Vamandev and Nrsimhadev are both manifestations of the same Lord, who regularly gives Prahlad his divine association, and that his needs to be capitalized. Anyways, Vamandev and Nrsimhadev are both manifestations of the same Lord, who regularly gives Prahlad his divine association and the opportunity and offer obeisances at his lotus feet. Oh God, I'm getting into total proofreading. See, there's double spaces there and single space right there. Sorry. Okay, get out of proofreading mode. Although both Brahma and Shiva are actually superior in bhakti, devotion to Prahlad Maharaj, their posts involve contact with the three gunas, or modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. The role of Lord Brahma is creation and procreation in Rajagun, the mode of passion. Lord Shiva's role of demolition and dissolution is in Tamagun, the mode of ignorance. It is for this reason that they are called guna avatars, incarnations of the material qualities. Prahlad Maharaj is nirgun, transcendental to the three modes of nature. He has nothing to do with activities and material goodness, passion, and ignorance, by which this world is shackled. Lord Shiva is also beyond the three modes of nature, but he adopts the mode of ignorance, tamagun, to efficiently perform his function. The personal associate. Regarding Lord Shiva's glorification of Prahlad Maharaj, now consider Lord Shiva's identity as a transcendental personality, separate from his post. Sometimes senior Vaishnavas express sincere recognition of the novice, inspiring him or her on the path of devotion. The Vaishnavas may say, "Oh, you work so hard and earn money, and with that money, you support and nourish me. I have no means at all. I do nothing but visit for a short while, eating and sleeping at your expense. I would not be able to speak the glories of Lord Krishna at this festival if you had not arranged for the management of all the activities here, so you are superior to me." Out of sincere humility, gratitude, and affection, liberated souls speak in this endearing manner, and at the same time, they are fixed in the realization that they are always being personally maintained by the Supreme Lord. The senior Vaishnava has the disciple's personal benefit in mind. However, Lord Shiva was not speaking for Prahlad Maharaj's benefit, but to acquaint aspiring devotees with the stages of devotion. His desire was to facilitate the service of Sri Narad Muni and Srila Sanatana Gosami, whose mission was to establish in the world the sequence of the grades of devotion, and ultimately establish the glories of the gopis. Try to understand all these truths, and seek to gradually become firmly situated in bhakti. Imagine that you are in a market in which there are thousands of varieties of shops. In some of those shops, there are products made of iron, and in some shops, there are products made of gold. In some, there are jewels, and in others, chintamani, wish-fulfilling stones. An expert is guiding you through all the shops, pointing out different products and revealing which are superior. If there are thousands of pounds of iron and 1 ounce of gold, the gold has more value. On the other hand, many pounds of gold will not amount to the value of 1 kaustuba mani, or a similarly precious stone. Millions of such precious stones cannot compare with a tiny quantity of chintamani, and even millions of chintamani stones cannot compare with one holy name of Lord Krishna. Now suppose someone is chanting the name of Lord Krishna alone, and another is absorbed in the name of Radha-raman. The name of Radha-raman, meaning Shri Krishna, the enjoyer of pastimes of Srimati Radharani, has more transcendental taste, more ras, than the name of Krishna alone. The person absorbed in that holy name will therefore experience a greater spiritual pleasure. Regarding the analogy of the shops in a market, that expert tells you, this shop is good, that shop is better, and this one is the best. Similarly, in his Sri Bhagavatamrita, Srila Sanatana Gosami establishes the gradations of excellence of various devotees and their devotion in order to help his readers determine their spiritual path. The history of Narad Muni's coming to the abode of Lord Shiva and glorifying him was first narrated in this Sri Bhagavatamrita. Like Srila Sanatana Gosami, Narad is also that expert described above. Anyways, he desired to establish pure bhakti in the world, and therefore he played the role of searching for the greatest devotee and recipient of Lord Krishna's mercy. His search had taken him first to the shop of a Brahmin in Prayag, after that to South India, to the shop of a king. Then he traveled to heaven, where he entered the shop of King Indra, and Indra sent him to the shop of Lord Brahma. Brahma sent him to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva is now sending him to Prahlad Maharaj. Gradually, Sri Narad will bring us to the greatest recipients of Krishna's mercy, the gopis. In the form of Gopishwar, Lord Shiva is a beloved servant and associate of those gopis. All right, so I wish I could finish this whole book, but it's getting time for me to go through them for the program with Tridandivaj, doing the program at Surabi Kunj. But let's see if we can skim through this. There are three considerations, vichars, from which to understand the relationship between Lord Krishna and Lord Shiva. One is called the Tattvagata vichar, the consideration of their relationship by established philosophical truth. Another is called Aishwaryagata vichar, the consideration of their relationship in the Supreme Lord's pastimes of majesty. And the third is Nārāyaṇa vichar, the consideration of their relationship in the Supreme Lord's sweet human-like pastimes. According to philosophical truth, tattva, Sri Krishna's plenary portion is Sadashiv, and Sadashiv's partial manifestation is Shambhu, is Lord Shiva, Shambhu. From the perspective of Lord Krishna's pastimes in opulence and majesty, Aishwarya, Lord Krishna is Shiva's worshipful deity, who is always loved, honored, and respected by him. However, in Nārāyaṇa vichar, Krishna plays another role, that of an ordinary human being. He performs pastimes as a very young, small child who could not do anything independently. His mother, Srimati Yashoda-Devi, feeds him and tends to all his needs. During these human-like pastimes, Lord Shiva might come and give him benedictions. In the scriptures called the Puranas, it is stated that when Krishna resided in Dwarka, he worshipped Shiva to beget a child from the womb of his wife Jambavati. Although Shiva is worshipped by Krishna in those pastimes, he never thinks himself superior. He is always conscious that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and that he is Krishna's eternal servant. It is essential to have a clear understanding of these truths. One who knows these three perspectives or considerations can understand the relationship between Lord Shiva and his Lord. Who's calling me? Jai Shri. Oh my God. Sorry, give me 1 second, guys. Jai, I'm in the middle of doing a live reading right now, but I'm going to. I am coming today. Yes, I might be a little bit late though, but yeah, I'm coming. How do you do? Sorry. Okay. So established truth. This is the Tattvagata vichar. According to the principle of philosophical truth, Lord Shiva is a partial manifestation of Sri Krishna's plenary expansion, Sadashiv. Lord Shiva, meaning Lord Shambhu, is a partial manifestation of Krishna's plenary expansion, Sadashiv. When Krishna desires to create, he expands himself as Mahasankarshan. And possessing his this creative desire, Sankarshan expands as Mahavishnu, Karandakshay Vishnu. Mahavishnu then desires to create, and by his desire, his desire takes the form of a light that emanates from between his eyebrows. The semblance or dim twilight reflection of that light is called Shambhu Linga, Shiva. Many people worship Lord Shiva in the form of Shambhu Linga. The light itself is eternal, and it is not Shambhu Linga. Shambhu Linga is its semblance or shadow. Okay. There is another semblance called Yoni, and this is the shadow of Ramadevi. Ramadevi is the spiritual potency of Mahavishnu, and in Vaikuntha she is Lord Narayan's beloved consort Lakshmi Devi. This is her original transcendental form, and her shadow is the limited conceiving potency, the Yoni. Mahavishnu has two types of potency with which he creates the material worlds. One type of potency is called the nimitta, the instrumental cause of creation, and the other is called upadam, the ingredient cause. And we read about this when we discuss Advaita Acharya. So we can see that Advaita Acharya is also a manifestation of Sadashiv, just as Shambhu is a manifestation of Sadashiv. So instrumental and ingredient causes can be explained in this way. Suppose I say, I killed a snake with a stick. The person who desired and performed the activity is the instrumental cause, the nimitta cause, and the stick is the ingredient cause, the upadan. And in another example, a potter makes a pot. The desire or will of the potter to make the pot is the instrumental cause. The sum total of all the instruments used to create it, like the wheel, the clay, the mud, and water, is the ingredient cause. Mahavishnu's eternal instrumental potency takes its reflected form as yoni, the limited shadow potency, and the ingredient cause assumes the reflection form of Shambhu Linga. Creation then takes place by the union of Shambhu Linga and his female consort Yoni. Shambhu is called the Linga of the Supreme Lord, which means that he is the manifest symbol of the Lord's male generative capacity, and he appears for the purpose of preparing the cosmic manifestation. That potency which gives birth to the material creation is the energy called Maya, and her intrinsic form is Yoni. Although the original instrumental and ingredient cause is not Yoni and Shambhu, it is Mahavishnu, material nature as Yoni desires to create by dint of the Kam Bij, the desire seed impregnated in her, and she is therefore the secondary instrumental cause. The desire seed gave her the urge to create, and because she then wanted to create, she is called the instrumental cause. Shambhu supplies the materials of creation, and he is therefore called the ingredient cause. Okay. Shambhu, the dim reflection of the Supreme Lord's own desire, Shambhu, the dim reflection of the Supreme Lord's own divine desire-filled glance, consummates his union with Yoni. However, he can do nothing independent of the energy of Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is a supreme personified will, and it is he who brings about the union of the two, Yoni and Shambhu. He is the divine dominating person, the plenary portion of Lord Krishna, and the creator of the mundane world. In order for creation to take place, there must be the desire of the supreme doer. He must be present. The instrumental cause and ingredient cause must be mixed with the desire or glance of Mahavishnu. The initial form of the creation is Mahāt-tattva, the sum total 24 elements. This Mahāt-tattva is the reflection of the Kam Bij, the original desire seed in Goloka Vrindavan. The seed of amorous creative desire in Goloka is the embodiment of pure cognition. It is a prototype of the sex desire in this mundane world, although it is located far from it. The seed of the mundane sex desire is thus a perverted reflection of the seed of the original creative desire in Goloka Vrindavan. So that's the Tattvagata Vichar of Shambhu. And then there is service and pastimes of majesty, the Aishwaryagata Vichar. Anyhow, it is now 9:30. Oh my God, I need to go. Man, I wish I could read more. We're getting close to the end, right? This is all we got. I guess not that close to the end. Anyhow, you can read the rest of chapter 3 and chapter 4 on your own. You can just go to Pure Bhakti. You can just search in Google. Just type in Śiva-tattva and then Pure Bhakti, one word, and then it will come up. And you can download the PDF and read the rest. All right. Thanks for joining me. Oh, I just want to check one more thing. Just want to, where is it? I took a picture. Where is it? Oh man, can't find it. I just want to see that chart from Madhurika Dambini. That helps break down the, this? No, it's not that. Okay, let me just quickly try to find it. I think it's, let me just guess. I think it might be on page, around page 220. Let's try to 30. Okay. Where are we? Okay. Sorry guys, just stick with me 1 second. There is the chart. Chaitanya-tattva. This is what we read a couple of days ago about the ontology of sentient beings. So, there are two kinds of sentient beings. The independent sentient beings and the dependent sentient beings. The dependent sentient beings are all the jivas in this world. So the independent sentient beings, the independent controllers, those are divided into two. One is Nārāyaṇa and so on, like Nārāyaṇa and all the different avatars, who are beyond the touch of Maya. And then Shiva and so on, who accepts the touch of Maya for Lila, for the purpose of performing, for special pastimes, to do in this material world, for a special purpose. But Shiva is not a jiva. Shambhu, Shiva, is not a jiva. And you can see Brahma is not in this category of Shambhu, of being an independent controller. So then dependent sentient beings, the minute living entity who pervades the body, that's divided into two parts, two categories. One is the jivas who are not covered by ignorance, and then there's the jivas who are covered by ignorance, such as the demigods, the humans, birds, beasts, etc. So the jivas who are not covered by ignorance, those are further divided into two types. One are the jivas invested with the Lord's Aishwarya Shakti, the Lord's Aishwarya Shakti, and those who are not invested with the Lord's Aishwarya Shakti. Those jivas who are not invested with the Lord's Aishwarya Shakti, those are also in two categories. One is the Jnani, who merges within Nirgun Brahma or Sagun Brahma. They either merge into the Brahma Sayuja or Ishvara Sayuja. They either merge into the effulgence of the Lord, or they merge into Krishna's very own body, Ishvara Sayuja. And that's deplorable. We do not want that. That's horrible. And then there's also the Bhakta, who relishes the sweetness of the names, forms, qualities, and pastimes of Sri Bhagavan. That's what we want. And so those are the jivas who are not invested with the Lord's Aishwarya Shakti. And then the jivas who are invested with the Lord's Aishwarya Shakti, those are invested with the Gyan Shakti, an aspect of transcendence, such as the four Kumaras. They have the Lord's Gyan Shakti. And those who are invested with the creative potency of an aspect of Maya, such as Lord Brahma. And I'm guessing that Rudra, when the jiva gets the position of Rudra, which is far above the position of Lord Brahma. But yeah, I'm guessing that that's also, that must be in this also, in this category. So you can see the difference of where Lord Brahma is and Lord Shiva is. And Lord Shiva is, all pervading. Lord Shiva is within every atom. He's completely, the jivas only pervade the body that the jiva is in. So, that's just a little bit more about Shambhu. And of course, the tattva is a lot more complicated than what we just got into. But anyways, that's something of Śiva-tattva. All right, now I'm a little bit more prepared if Chaitanya Maharaj asks me to speak something today for the program we're going for right now. All right. Yes, I am late now, 5 minutes past. I should have left 5 minutes ago. So, quickly to Jadvani. Jai Shishi Guru Gurangandar Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Juki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Juki Jai. Nikhil Purvishtam Vishnupad Ashtatar Shatashmar Srila Bhaktivedānta Nārāyaṇa Gosami Mahārāja Ramadevi Jai. Nikhil Purvishtam Vishnupad Srila Bhaktivedānta Vaman Gosami Mahārāja Jai. Nikhil Purvishtam Vishnupad Srila Bhaktivedānta Swami Mahārāja Srila Prabhupada Jai. Nikhil Purvishtam Vishnupad Srila Bhaktivedānta Keshav Gosami Mahārāja Jai. Nikhil Purvishtam Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Gosami Prabhupada Jai. Nikhil Purvishtam Mahabhagavad Srila Bhakti Mahārāja Jai. Nityal Bhavishya Shiva Satchidananda Bhaktivedānta Thakur ki jai, Nityal Bhavishya Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shiva Jagannath Das Babaji Mahārāja ki jai, Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai, Shri Rup Sanatana Pata Raghunath, Shri Jeev Gopal Pata Dashaguna Shara Gosami Prabhu ki jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramananda Dai Shri Gopal Shraddha Vrinda ki jai, Namachay Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sri Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaura Mandal Bhaji Mandal Dham ki jai, Sarva Abhishyaparata Giriraj Mahārāja ki jai, Shri Radha Shamakun ki jai, Shri Maradevi Ganga-devi ki jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Ganga-devi ki jai, Shri Bhakti-devi ki jai, Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai, Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai, Shri Mahadev ki jai, Shri Sadashiva ki jai, Shri Shambhu ki jai, Shri Shiva-ratri ki jai, Shri Shiva Chaturdashi Titi Palan Paribhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashita Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Satyavataya Namo Namaha Vansha Kalpataru Yashta Kripa Sindhu Vyaya Vacha Patitanam Pavane Bro Vaishnavi Bro. Also in Madhurya Kadamini, there's that interesting part how ignorance, from one perspective, is superior to passion. And he explains how anyways, that was a really interesting thing. How there's fire contained within wood, but there isn't fire contained within smoke. No, I'm not going to get into that. I need to run. But anyhow, if you have time, you can check out that part of text 3 and the third shower of Madhurya Kadambini. It's really interesting about Śiva-tattva. So yeah. All right. Jai Har Har Mahadev. Okay, here you go.